Hello guys, and welcome to another new video from TechBlur, and in today's video we will be making a new gaming PC that will be capable of running all new modern titles in high settings. So let's get started. For the processor, we have gone with the Intel Core i7-9700K, and it's an LGA 1151 processor from Intel. Of course, it's the 9th generation processor and it can be overclocked, and we will be looking forward in the video on how to do it. Being a 9th generation processor, it is pretty fast, and talking about the core clock, it is about 3.6 gigahertz and it has 12 megabytes of cache. Of course, it is LGA 1151 certified. Next, we have the motherboard, and for the motherboard we chose the MSI MPG Z390 Gaming Edge AC from MSI. It's containing a chipset of Z390, so it will be super fast in overclocking if we want to. And of course, being MSI, it is a good motherboard and has decent quality for its budget. It of course supports the Intel LGA 1151 sockets of 8th and 9th generation and has some RGB to it as well. On the back of the board, we can see what it looks like and all the features it presents. There's of course 4 RAM slots for you to choose from. A maximum of 64 gigabytes of RAM can be used, but for this configuration we will be going for the dual channel 2 sticks of this, and it of course has all the features as it shows on the back as well. An M.2 slot is there for modern features. Next, we've got the liquid cooler, which is from Cooler Master Liquid ML240R. It's an all-in-one liquid cooler and has RGB in it, of course, with all the necessary features, and it is addressable, so, and has a controller with it as well. And of course, here you can see the different socket types and all the information you need. Next, we've got the graphics card, which is the heart of this build, and for this we've also gone with an MSI product, which is the GeForce RTX 2070 Super Ventus, which is an overclocked edition graphics card, GDDR6, and it is just a beast when performing. This might not be the most fastest one, but for this budget it is pretty good as well. The design on it is pretty simple but looks really nice. It's got a nice backplate and all the NVIDIA support you need. Of course, it's 8 gigabytes of GDDR6 memory and a 256-bit size. Next, talking about memory, we will go with the Corsair Vengeance Pro RGB RAM, and it is really nice looking RAM, and for this budget you can have no problems whatsoever. Corsair is good. For the RAM, we chose 8 gigabytes stick to each, so it will be a combination of 16 gigabytes. Of course, it will run at a speed of 3200 megahertz once we overclock it in the XMP profile. Next, we've got the storage, and this one is for the main boot drive. It's a 250 gigabyte NVMe M.2 storage, 970 EVO, of course, from Samsung, and it is a pretty fast M.2 SSD. So the read and write speeds are absolutely blazing fast, and booting on this Windows will be very, very fast indeed. Next, we've got the all-important power supply. Many ignore it, but it is actually very important. We've gone with the Thermaltake Tough Power GF1 850 watt power supply from Thermaltake, of course, and it's a fully modular power supply and has all the necessary details and everything on the box if you want to check that out. And there's a 10-year warranty on this, which will be very helpful in case. And on the back you can see all the necessary cables will be given inside with the necessary connectors, and there's some more information on the back. It's a nice matte finish, and plus it's an 80 plus gold certified power supply, so you will have no problems at all. I went with a bit higher power rating because it will help us in future upgrades. Now let's see the complete build together. Okay, so once the build is done, this looks like pretty much it. The RGB looks absolutely fantastic, and the 3 front fans are mentioned and given in the case beforehand. The case is of course the Game DS Talos P1A casing, and inside it looks like this, which is absolutely RGBness, complete RGBness, but not quite. It's quite a mix and a match. The graphics card looks nice, and the all-in-one liquid cooler and the RAM is looking shiny as well. You can see a bit of backlight from the MSI board as well, and the fans included. And talking about the case, of course, it is a tempered glass case, all sides tempered glass from both the sides, and it has a swing arm door. And on the case itself, there are RGB strips on both sides, so it looks nice on the exterior as well. Taking a look at the upside, we will be using an Asus monitor. It's a 144 Hz monitor, so it should have no problems running the games at high refresh rates. Also, you can see the keyboard here, which we've done a review of in the channel. If you haven't checked that out, please check it out. The link will be in the description. Now for some editing purposes, we will see how Premiere Pro runs. Working on it, I did not find any problem. The footage, scrubbing through the footage was smooth, and everything looked clean and fine. Rendering times were very good as well, given the processor, and you should have no problem cleaning it up. Now let's test up some games, starting with Grand Theft Auto 5. You will have pretty decent frame rates given the fact that the GPU is a high-end one, and mostly the game looks very nice. The details are quite crisp. The settings are set to high, absolute extreme settings you could possibly imagine, except for turning off VSync in-game, which might cause some frame drops, unfortunately. But in the NVIDIA control panel, you can always turn that on if you wish to. The gameplay looks absolutely stunning. However, you will not notice the frame rate gaining or dropping too much, because this video is obviously at 30 FPS, but while playing, I got a decent amount of frame rates in the banks. So it is mostly nice to see, and the details are obviously very clear given the high amount of RAM we have. Next, we'll try out The Witcher 3, and this too will give you a very high frame rate, just above the 100 FPS mark. I think it's a bit of overkill for some, but a high refresh rate will always benefit you and will make the experience much more better for you if you want to play like that. The details, of course, are sharp, and The Witcher, being an older game, will run very fine. But if you want to run more AAA titles, you can very much do that because of the extra power you have with the graphics card. So that was it. This is how the piece looks from the inside and outside. It's a bit bright and will be very nice indeed. You can try it out with your own configuration and let us know in the comments how you found it. Bye for now.